How will Nicole Malliotakis position herself if she becomes the GOP candidate for mayor? That's a question. And how's the race for Brooklyn DA shaping up? That's another question. And what will become of that Watchtower sign? That's another question. Just a few of the stories we're going to hope to get to in the next few minutes as I'm sitting down with the reporter. It's her first time here, so be gentle with her. She's Kadia Goba. She's a reporter at Kings County Politics. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I have to admit that Kings County Politics, KCP, is one of my daily clicks. You guys are always waiting for me in my inbox when I come in. So for those who are obsessed with local politics or just finding out what's happening at the community level, KCP does a great idea. You're working with some good people over there. One thing that I saw recently is about the woman who would be mayor. She seems to be the only viable Republican candidate now that someone else fell by the wayside, but she's also the only strong woman who's making a showing as of right now, Nicole Malliotakis.
Yes, Nicole is the viable Republican candidate at this point because of Paul Massey's resignation, or he pulled out the other day.
But didn't he have more money than God? Wasn't that a thing? Like, he was very well funded?
Yeah, but that's the position he pulled back on. He said that there was an issue. It just exceeded his expectations, of his financial expectations.
It takes a lot of cheddar to run. Even for the city council races, we've seen so much money. Last time we sit in this district here in Fort Greene, and that was one of the most expensive races with all of this real estate money coming in as well. So has money already started to factor into the mayor's race, do you think?
Oh, it absolutely has. I mean, obviously, well, not obviously, but Mayor Bill de Blasio is leading. I think his last filings were about $4 million.
He's going to spend it all, too. He's going to spend it all. There was a great op-ed by your publisher, Steve Witt, this morning talking about Mayor de Blasio, like, sort of having this walk into the mayor's office that should be pretty easy, but someone like Malliotakis is steadily chipping and trying to make gains while he's going around the country and the world promoting ideals instead of sort of staying in City Hall and doing the work.
Right. Well, she's been very aggressive. I think it was important for her to hone in on the mayor leaving to go to Germany for the G20 conference. Obviously, he
like, what's a mayor doing at the G20 conference?
Because his son is there.
Okay, sure.
But she sent out a funny meme on Twitter, and
really, I haven't
it got
seen
a lot of attention.
Describe the meme to me. This is like the radio hour.
Well, he had.
Tell me what the meme
looks like.
There was
like bratwurst in front of him and a beer, a glass of beer. So it's I guess just honing in on the whole Germany thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he received a lot of flack for going there at a time where. Recently, as you mentioned earlier, there was a police officer who was unfortunately killed, shot and murdered.
Yeah.
I think a mother of 3.
Yeah.
He got a lot of resistance at her. Well, he left at a really interesting time.
Yeah, it seems pretty inopportune. So it seems that he's not taking the challenge seriously.
He's just letting again, Malliotakis is extremely aggressive. She just did while he was leaving, she did a press conference on 62nd Street and 12th Avenue about the garbage, which is something I wrote about.
You did write about it, and you said $1 million houses across the street from dirty old mattresses and stuff that people have taken away. What's the issue there? And is really garbage removal in that district going to be the linchpin issue that delivers the mayor's office to somebody this time?
I hope it brings the attention because a lot of people in District 43 have been experiencing this. In October, what happened? In October, the bins changed. They changed it to a dual bin system.
The physical trash that we throw away,
Correct.
Like the receptacle is different.
And it was to accommodate the organic recycling pickup.
Brown bins.
Correct.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it left room for people to discard their mattresses, and the bins are not big enough to pick up mattresses or large electronics or TVs. So the residents seem to be dumping it in arbitrary places, unfortunately. And it just happens to be right across the street from $1 million homes. I guess it really doesn't matter where they are.
Right.
The point is that
People are dumping crap.
it seems to be a shortcoming for the SNY.
So when I see this, it sort of dovetails into something that was in your publication. You didn't write it, but about Vincent Gentile, who wants to be Brooklyn's next DA.
Yes.
Expanding a program that they have in Staten Island already that like would put animal abuse under that sort of purview, like a special unit in the Brooklyn DA's office as well. So I wonder, looking at the trash and then seeing him talk about the animal abuse, if these are issues to say, listen, you're not running to be the head of streets and sanitation or cleaning these things up. Are these issues that in the course of your reporting that people get angry and upset enough to like cast votes about?
I mean, they do. I think the focus is clearly going to be about the closing of Rikers. Mm-hmm. You see the legislative branch already honing in on, Mark Viverito pushing the Lippman report.
And her last State of the Union address, she went in on it. Yeah.
And then the mayor then releasing his 10-year plan to close Rikers. So I think those are going to be the challenging points or the most talked about points.
Yeah. You know, I have a thing, it's not exactly in your district because we have to talk about the 43rd now. You've been covering extensively. But on the issue of closing Rikers, Steve Levin, who represents Borum Hill, you know, he has the House of Detention downtown, and he's the only person who stepped forward and said, oh, we could expand it. Maybe we could have another tower here or make this more efficient. And a lot of people in his district may not feel that way, but I wondered in the 43rd how much this has impacted that race. Is that something that people are talking about?
I think there's going to be some resistance. I mean, I applaud Levin for showing
Stepping
some
up
initiative.
And saying, we'll take it.
Because the mayor's report specifically indicates that he's going to need the support of his city council members.
Yeah, he's the lone voice out there now.
However, in his report, in the mayor's report, his language was very specific as to not name where he was going to allocate those detention homes.
Right.
And yes, recently I did a piece asking District 43 candidates what their feelings would be about housing a facility, and they were pretty split. Republicans didn't think that Rikers should be closed, but no one agreed that
they can't even get this like no-tell motel closed. What's the name of the place out there that is an issue every time? It's like this,
the Prince Hotel.
The Prince Hotel. They can't even close that down, and they want people to bring incarcerated folks out. This is sort of a NIMBY sort of area.
Oh, it surely will be. It's well, okay, so to go into the Prince, there's obviously an opioid addiction issue, and it's really ravished the District 43 area. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, like you said, they haven't closed that, and that's been a 2-year process at this point, so it's going to be interesting.
So they're calling for me to wrap. I just want to steal 1 minute to ask you about that broader 43rd. How many? There are like 6 people running for the Gentile seat now? Is it up to
8.
6? 8. I'm missing 2 even.
So there
3 Republicans.
I'm sorry, 9.
9.
So there's 5 on the Democratic side and 4 on the Republican side.
Okay.
Recently, Lucretia Porter, she and I'm sorry.
I can barely keep up. Yes.
Vincent Chirico on the Democratic side and Lucretia Regina Porter on the Republican side. They're both very new candidates. They just filed in June, as early as June, I believe. So we'll see.
That's one to watch. So, Kadia, you have to come back because I cut you completely off because we were meant to talk about the 43rd, and it's one of the most interesting races. So please come back, yes?
I will.
Deal. All right. So thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon. We'll keep reading KCP. Check it out there.